All right, welcome everyone. Going live here, pressing the buttons, getting it all started. Live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, where else? And that's about it. So I have a special show today here with Julia from a counseling group downstairs. Let me add her to the stage. So hello, Julia. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah. So why don't you what's the name of your company? So introduce yourself. What's your name? What do you
Sure.
do? What's
Yeah.
the name of your company?
I'm Julia Spain, owner of Core Balance Counseling, and we're here just downstairs from you at the Mesa office. We've been here almost a year now.
Yeah. So you guys moved in. I remember teasing you. Your name was Gilbert Counselors at first, right?
Yes.
And well, we're right on the border here. So we're in my office today, which is just upstairs from you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on Power Road, on the Mesa side of Power, that a lot of people don't realize is still Mesa.
Right.
So, but now your name is Core. What is it? Core Balance.
Core Balance Counseling. Yes.
Core Balance Counseling.
Mm-hmm. We have another location in Chandler as well.
Okay, great. Yeah. So we connected. Well, first I just saw you as a neighbor. I think there was a fire drill or something, right, outside, and that's where we kind of got to meet some of the neighbors and some of the new people. And then recently we had a little open house, a little like coffee hour where I got to speak with you more. And then also I guess I met your Yaya at your office.
Yes.
So I saw outside you had flyers for different grief groups. Like you had I think there was a teen group. There was different support groups, I think is what caught my eye.
Yeah, we had a couple of support groups going, and then you asked us specifically if we could create a grief group to kind of collaborate with some of your clients, some of our clients, and so that's how we met and got started.
Yeah, so really happy to announce that you guys have created a grief group. So today we're here in my Mesa conference office. So a lot of lots of heartbreaking situations up here. You know, my business as a probate attorney, as a trust attorney, I try to keep it matter of fact and just go through the business side and take them through what they need to do legally and logically. But I know there's a whole other world, so that's why I'm really glad that we can offer your services downstairs. So tell us a little bit more about that, about the grief group.
Sure. Yeah. So we wanted to provide a safe and comfortable, supportive environment for people to come really at any stage of grief. And probably when you meet folks, it's maybe right after the loss of a loved one. And sometimes that might be a little bit of an easier time because people are distracted with kind of the business aspects. And then, they have family in town often or around them at that time. And then later, the emotions can kind of hit. And it can be confusing because there's such a range of different emotions and experiences that people have. And it's complicated depending on the relationship that they had and the type of loss. So we teach meditation to our clients as well, to be able to be in the moment and grounded and even just aware of what you're feeling and what you're thinking about. And then transition into teaching coping skills of how to deal with what you're struggling with.
Yeah, so I was really happy to hear that you offer the meditation as part of it. I've done some work myself and we've gotten into meditation, and really life-changing, I would say, just learning that skill. I guess, is it a skill, meditation?
I think so.
Skill?
I think it's a practice.
A practice, yeah, it's kind of more appropriate. But so I guess meditation is, there's different ways to do it, right? But I guess what's the basic definition? I would say probably just kind of quieting your mind.
Yeah, we describe meditation and mindfulness really as just simply being aware. And so often we do breathing exercises or grounding activities to quiet the mind so that we can then focus. We also teach that it's not always possible to quiet the mind. And so just noticing if the mind wanders and come back. And it's typically easier to start with guided meditations.
That's what I've done. That's where I got started, is with guided visualizations is what they call them as well, or same thing, right? Guided visualizations, guided meditations.
Yeah.
but yeah, that way it kind of helps give you something to think about. But it does seem, I said practice. It does seem like something like you practice and kind of focusing your mind, and it's almost like imagination too. I feel like too, like being able to sit in just your mind and with just your thoughts and
Yeah,
try to just staying there and not going other places.
it can be. Sometimes I describe that as like when we have dreams, our mind can just go all over the place. So can be an element of imagination or just very bizarre thoughts, but we can have those same types of thoughts even when we're awake and conscious. And so learning to not always treat those thoughts as facts, but they're just thoughts. And we can train our mind to kind of come back to the moment and reality, what's really going on, rather than things we might be making up.
Yeah. Is it more common meditation practice for people, would you say? Like out of the people that come to you, are they already using some sort of meditation, or are you introducing that?
I would say it's across the board. I have some clients who have done a great deal of self-taught, or they've gone to courses, kind of like what you mentioned that you've participated with. Or we have people come and they'll say that was the very first time I've ever done that. So.
Yeah, that's probably satisfying, or feels good to help people through that and just kind of give them that tool. I think it's kind of like I don't know. It's like once you're involved in something, like you kind of see it everywhere, right? It's kind of it's like once I found meditation in my life, I've seen it in more places, even more business settings, which I think is kind of cool. I've gone to some business masterminds and things where they'll actually start with a meditation. Like some breathing, kind of get people focused, and it's very powerful. I think another way that I got into it as well is through yoga. Mm-hmm. I started surfing in law school. That's what got into yoga. I want to get more flexible and strong and be a better surfer.
Yeah.
And then the ice yoga is kind of like moving meditation.
It is actually. There's different limbs of the spiritual aspects of yoga. I've done yoga as well, specifically the past maybe 10 years. And that's one reason that I brought meditation into our practice, is to kind of combine the moving meditation, but we can, a meditation could be a single breath in and out if we're very aware of the moment. So it can be anything.
Yeah, so that was my path. I don't know if I had to start with a straight meditation, that might be hard for me, but I saw the benefit already, I guess. Like at first I was doing yoga just for like the movement aspect of it. In some classes it would kind of mold up a meditation, and first I was like, oh, whatever. And then I was like, wait, this is kind of nice. Like, you're trying to match your breaths, and it's a whole other aspect when you, I guess, kind of take control of your mind as well. So.
Yeah, I would say a combination of taking control, but also kind of allowing free thoughts at times to kind of just assess what's there, what thoughts are coming up and going through your brain.
Yeah, being aware and see what happens. Also, so you have some meditation as part of that grief group, and then what does the typical class look like? So I got it on your screen here. It's every Friday at 3:00 at your office downstairs.
Yeah, there's no commitment, meaning if you can come this week, but not for another
month. You're
not
going to like pressure them into membership.
We do ask clients to sign just a consent form.
I guess that as a lawyer.
So we do that, but other than that, it's no commitment, and $20. And if people can't afford that, it's just we need to have a conversation about what they can afford. So
yeah, and then for all of my clients, anyone watching this, call my office. If you're one of our existing clients, we have a deal where we sponsor your first class. So anyone watching this has worked with us in the past. That's part of what we arrange. So where anyone that wants to attend their first one, we'll cover that.
Yeah.
So go check it out.
Yeah, and if people have specific questions about it, they could reach out to me or my staff, and we're happy to talk to folks on the phone. So the class starts with a meditation, and then we ask people just their reaction to the meditation. It's kind of an easy way to ease in to talking if you just share your reaction to the meditation, and then introductions and maybe what brings folks, and then we teach skills.
Yeah. And then how long is one of those? How long does it last?
An hour.
An hour. That's good. Not too long. I don't like anything too long. I don't
Not
like
too
any
long.
meetings longer than an hour. So, plenty of time. So that's great. So it sounds like all types of people could benefit from this, right? So this is specifically a grief group. What other types of groups do you have? Isn't there some other groups as well that you guys run?
Yeah, we have a women's group Wednesdays at noon. We have a men's group Wednesdays at 6, teens Mondays at 5. Then the grief group, and then we're starting a virtual LGBTQ plus group.
Cool.
And that's for ages 13 to 23, so that teen to young adult.
Yeah, so the men's, women's, and teens group, what are those focused on? What are those groups doing?
Sure, those are, I lead the women's group, and so again, starting with a meditation, and then our specialty is cognitive behavioral therapy and DBT therapy, and so
What's DBT?
Stands for dialectical behavioral therapy, and really what that means is a dialectic was like black or white, like all or nothing thinking, and so it's learning about we can live in that gray area, have a balance of I can have this emotion and also make healthy choices.
That's good. So, so all the groups are working on those things. Is the grief group also do that as well too? Is that part of the tools as well?
Yeah, we do bring in those methods and then specifically talk about, for example, stages of grief, types of grief, cycles of grief, and just really try to normalize that everyone's experience is different.
Yeah. And then is there an online option for the grief group, or is that just in person?
Not currently, but I have had folks where, we're meeting in person, but they asked to join virtually. And so I just bring my laptop in. And so if somebody wanted that, we could certainly accommodate it.
Yeah. There's kind of pros and cons with that, right? Obviously, we're streaming right now for everyone to attend virtually. It makes it so convenient. Mm-hmm. And I've hosted some events where I've done it both ways. I don't know. I think I'm actually going to be doing more real life events this year because it's kind of a different vibe when you're there in person. So maybe so it sounds like there is some flexibility, but I think they should probably try to come in person, right? At least sometimes, and then maybe if they can't attend later, then they could if you offer a virtual.
Yeah,
that's probably the way to approach it. I think you probably want to try to attend in real life.
I think it's just the feeling of, being in the same room, having that energy, which is supportive, and it's nice. Yeah. So yeah, the first time would be great if people could come in person, and then if they can't, going forward, we can make accommodations.
And you can still get that virtually, I feel like, but you got to be a little bit more focused. And it also depends what you have at home too, right? Like you have a nice quiet area where you're able to focus, or is there going to be distractions going on and other things? And so,
yeah.
Well, great. Anything else you want to share with our audience about your services?
Sure. I'll share that we, in addition to the groups, we offer counseling for individuals of all ages. We have counselors that work with real young kids, teenagers, adults, couples counseling, family counseling, and we take most of the main insurances. And then now with Medicare, we just got credentialed with them also.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. How do people get their teenagers involved? How do you get teenagers to do anything?
A lot of teenagers are happy to come, or they even ask for counseling.
Really?
Yeah, we have a lot of teenagers, and it's really, I think, rewarding to work with people of all ages to just kind of know and understand how problems can develop, or if people are already older, kind of maybe where they started from. So.
What's motivating the teenagers to come in?
A lot of them, they're aware of struggles, and especially since COVID, I think people handled that in very different ways.
Yeah, that's kind of cool to see our society is opening up to that. Huh? We have teenagers that are recognizing that they want those things. I think a lot of adults follow suit, learn from the kids.
Yeah, I agree.
The kids are always right on it. Like.
I think also counseling is much more mainstream and normal.
Yeah.
Accepted, and so people don't have that stigma attached to it.
I think everyone realizes now that we're all screwed up, huh? It used to be like, what's your problem? And now it's like, no, we all can benefit and learn more.
Yeah.
So, Well, thank you very much for joining us today. It's fun having you.
Thank you for having me.
So you can look for Julia. We'll be doing more events in our office here in Mesa. So if we have other open houses or things, you can catch them downstairs, and we're upstairs.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Of course.